Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to EMIS Live, the new normal. This is another session where we're introducing one of our partner products. This is a 15-minute power-up session to learn how IQVIA's cost tracker can capture COVID-related costs and indeed other project-related costs to accurately record them in accordance with the guidance that we've been given and to ensure that the additional expenditure can be reimbursed. My name is Jamie Cole. I work within the EMIS Partners team, and I'm joined on today's session by Dimitri Dorsky, who is the Director of Strategy for UK and Ireland Healthcare at IQVIA. You probably saw at the start there, you'll remain on mute through the entire session. It's quite a quick session, but in the top right hand corner, I believe there is a little box where you can add and ask questions. Please feel free to do so throughout. Where we get a chance to, we'll respond immediately with the answer and publish those. And if we don't get a chance to, we will of course provide the questions and answers in a recording afterwards. The whole session will be recorded, so there will be a follow-up. You'll all receive that. It will also be available on the website to see more and re-record and listen again. So as we move out of the first wave of the COVID pandemic and brace ourselves for potentially future waves, it's life as we know it has and the ways of working have significantly changed. There have been several letters by Sir Simon Stevens, the Chief Executive for the NHS, regarding implementing new measures, and there have been several updates to these throughout the last few months around the guidance around financial reporting and submissions. And it won't surprise you to learn that these have become more complex as time has moved forwards. The important thing on this slide here, I'll just read the final sentence. It says, record keeping must meet the requirements of external audit and public and parliamentary scrutiny. So it's important to note that you can't validate a spreadsheet. You can't simply add a value into a cell and submit it for reimbursement. The auditors will want to see that there's actually a full audit trail and compliance with that guidance. I've just got to note that the audio isn't particularly good, so I'm just going to switch to a headset, so please just bear with me. I hope that audio might be a little bit better. You can hear me a little bit more clearly now. As well as it's also difficult for you to manage spreadsheets at different levels. So at a practice level, you've got to look at who has access to the spreadsheets, who enters the data, how the approvals and authorizations are captured. Is there an audit trail? Who entered what and when? And if it's managed at a CCG level, you've got to collate 50, 60, 70 or more spreadsheets every month, analysing that expenditure, clarifying errors, requesting documents, invoices, checking authorizations. And then, of course, as the rules and guidance change, you'll need to reflect this guidance and updates through your spreadsheets. So what IQVIA have developed and why we're so excited to offer this to our customers is a simple, secure, cloud-based cost tracker. It's hosted on the Microsoft Azure platform, so there's no download, no installation required. It can be deployed, the login set up and trained within an hour. It's fully compliant with the current guidance and it will stand up to external audits, and IQVIA will guarantee it will remain compliant with future national submissions. So now that the scene is set, what I will do is hand over to Dimitri, who will give you a demonstration and show you how this provides a solution to this challenge.
Thank you, Jamie. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Can indeed.
Good. Good afternoon, everybody. I'll do a very quick run through the system to make sure that I can sort of highlight the main features. So first of all, as Jamie mentioned, the system is completely web-based application. So the only thing that I need to log into the system is this URL, username, password. I don't need anything installed, configured, set up. It is particularly important at the moment because obviously with everybody working remotely, what we want to try to do is to reduce any IT burden. So there is literally what we call a zero footprint in terms of deploying the system. So as I log in into the system, the very first thing that the system will ask me is which project do I want to work on? So by default, the COVID-19 project is selected, but, and it's a very important point to mention, a system administrator can create any number of additional projects. So I can create projects covering local initiatives, national initiatives. I can decide what organization users will have access to what project, and therefore effectively I can expand the use of the system well beyond just recording the information for the COVID-19 expenditure. As I log in into the system, I've logged in as a system administrator. I can see the transactions recorded by all the individual users, and that's what gives me the oversight. So I know exactly who recorded the information. I know exactly when it was recorded. I know exactly who authorized it and when it was updated. So effectively what I've got is a complete oversight across all the transactions recorded by individual users within my organization. It's also important to mention that logging into the system will maintain a full audit trail. So when I apply changes, when I make amendments, the system will automatically maintain an audit trail. So I don't have to worry about it. The system will take care of the audit process. Another thing that is very important to highlight is getting the information into the system can be done manually. So I'll simply click on add record and I can record the transactions directly in the database, or it can be done by uploading the data from various other systems. So if this information is recorded on your financial systems in Excel or anywhere else, you don't need to enter the information again. There is an import process that enables us to upload information into the system from a predefined Excel template, which can be used to load existing data and minimize any additional data entry. So if I'll click on add record, the system will open a new transaction. And as Jamie mentioned, the transaction format is fully compliant with the NHSI requirements. The requirements change on a semi-regular basis, and we adjust the software to make sure that it is always compliant. So the system will ask me to define the cost type, the cost category, the revenue or capital, type of expenditure. All of these definitions are required by NHSI to be completed and to be completed correctly in order to get reimbursement. Within the system, I can record current expenditure, I can record projected expenditure, and I can record what's called future expenditure. So effectively, the system enables me to record the current position as well as projections for the next months and beyond the next financial period. Using this functionality in the system will enable you to record actual expenditure as well as the projected spend for your own reports and analysis. The system is attached to a full national supplier database, so I can simply go and key in the supplier name, or I can click on the search button. The system will automatically search the national supplier database and enable me to pick up the correct information, which is again very, very important for the purpose of audit. Depending on the type of expenditure that I wish to record, so if I wish to record, for example, pay expenditure, the system will open an additional calculator that enables me to record all the relevant pay details. So this is where instead of having to manually calculate what the pay cost is, I can use the software to do so. So I can say that I'm employing one person doing 8 hours a day on social hours, change the band, and the system will automatically calculate the projected cost. Using this calculator will save a lot of time by not having to manually figure out what the different bands, grades, costs, etc. The system can automatically maintain this process. Obviously, if you wish, you can enter the figure without using the calculator. It's just there to help. It is also important to mention that system designed to deal not only with the revenue, but with the capital, where the recording and the submission becomes a lot more complicated. So if I'm recording capital information, the very first thing that the system will ask me to do is to recognize what type of capital expenditure I'm dealing with. So if I select, for example, IT, at the bottom, the system will open the questionnaire. This is the current NHSI information required for submission to deal with any IT-related capital expenditure. If I change the position to building, the system will automatically open a new questionnaire. Now this is the type of information that needs to be recorded in dealing with any building-related capital expenditure. We ensure full compliance if we ensure that the information is submitted correctly, and we've got a number of validation checks in the system to make sure that before you can submit the information, we check and make sure that all the information is valid. Recording this information in the system, as you can see, is very straightforward. It doesn't take a lot, and it's Jamie mentioned half an hour training will make sure that user is fully up to speed and fully understand how to record the information. Now, another very important point in the system is ability to maintain the paper audit trail, i.e. record all the relevant documents. Recording a transaction is all well and good, but if I've spent £63,000 buying laptops, what I would want to see, or more importantly, what auditors would want to see, is the full audit trail in terms of the purchase order, the invoice, who made the decision, who authorized it, etc. Using the attached facility in the system, you're able to add any number of documents to this transaction, and the system will automatically maintain all of these documents linked to this particular expenditure, which means that auditors would be able to simply open the information, see exactly who authorized it, exactly when it was purchased, exactly when invoice was raised, and any other relevant information. Maintaining this attachment will enable you to significantly improve and simplify the audit process and make sure that all the information is maintained in one single database. It is secure, it is password protected, and the information on the server is, of course, encrypted. It is also important to mention that the system supports what we call a two-level authorization process. So a particular user can enter a transaction, but as a system administrator, what I'm in a position to do is to sign off this transaction. What it basically means is, as a system administrator, I've checked the information. It appears to be correct. All the relevant information has been recorded. I can see all the relevant data. I've signed it off, which means that effectively what I've done is I've confirmed that I've checked and authorized this particular transaction. Having this two-level authorization process where one user can enter the information but another user can authorize the information gives us a chance to comply with the audit requirement of having an information oversight. This is the basic process of recording the information in the system. This is the basic type of information that can be recorded in the system. And as I said, more importantly, please bear in mind that if the information is already available in any electronic format in your financial system, in Excel, in any other data sources, the information can be simply uploaded into the database without having to record it again. The last thing to mention about the system is that the system administrator has complete control over the system access. So you don't need to involve IQVIA or EMIS or any other company in the process of setting up system access. Using the user's interface, I can create additional users, I can create logins, I can decide who is able to do what in the system. So in terms of access control, it's completely up to system administrator on site to decide who can get what access to the system. Obviously, the system comes with the set of reports. I'll just show you briefly, just literally a few examples. The reports enables you to view the information by organization or across organizations in your group. So this is a very basic report. What it enables me to do, it enables me to see the information across all of the organizations in my group. The group could be STP, it could be all the GPs in a particular area. What defines the group is entirely up to you. So I can see the expenditure by organization, I can see the total, and I can see it across different types by estimate and incurred. I can slice the same information and look at it by different cost types. So I can look at the information cost incurred by different types of expenditure. I can see the information incurred currently. I can see the information in cost incurred as projection. I can focus on the pay expenditure and see the information incurred by different types of cost incurred by different types of staff, and so on. I'm not going to show you all of the reports. There's quite a few of them. But hopefully that gives you the view of what type of analysis can be extracted from the system and how easy it is to get the information and to navigate. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Dimitri. I hope everyone was able to keep up with that whistle-stop tour of and demonstration of the IQVIA cost tracker. I hope you all agree that it's a simple but comprehensive way to track expenditure. But critically, rather than just being better than Spreadsheet, it will meet those requirements for that external audit, public and parliamentary scrutiny. It's currently in use now by more than 30 NHS trusts and more than 40 GP practices. So it is in use throughout. Apologies, someone was just saying they couldn't see the screen. Could someone just confirm they can see that now?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
it, really.
Great, apologies about that. So finally, just to say how we get it started. So it's really simple. You just complete an order form. We set up that account, as Dimitri says. We'll provide some training for you. We can get it set up really quickly, both at practice level training and also CCG level training. It's not just for COVID related expenditure, albeit that can be reimbursed. There is also an opportunity to use this for any projects that you have where you need to record, analyze any sort of an audit, any expenditure, both at a local and a national level. The costs on the right hand side there are based against numbers of practices within a CCG, or albeit a practice can purchase this themselves. Because it can be claimed as an additional expenditure, this can be used and submitted as a reimbursement. So effectively a cost neutral purchase. So we're just about out of time now. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope it gave you a real quick glimpse of what the cost tracker can do, both related to the COVID expenditure that we're all working through out of the first wave and into potential future waves, and also any local or national projects that you're looking to run. I'm sure you'll be eager to scrap those spreadsheets in favour of a single system that can make your life easier. Please feel free to get in touch. The email address is on the screen here. We will send a follow-up email with the recording, and should you wish to have a more detailed demonstration, please let us know. Be happy to help. Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon.